Rockstar Gang, what up? What up? Man, where do we start? Where do we start? Where do we start, man? Where do I start with this team? Where do I start with this team? That's the question. Where do I start? Hmm? Who do I start with? I guess is the question. You know? I mean, this is just a sad loss from top to bottom, man. There's really no way to sugarcoat this one because we got swept by one of the worst teams in football. They did it at the absolute worst time. Keeping coming off a bye week. Fresh off a massive win over the Rams. Have a clear path to the NFC South. They still managed to step on their own damn feet. Losing to the Saints in the season was bad enough, right? Earlier in the season was bad enough, but losing again, with everything on the line is flat out inexcusable. Like if Carolina somehow stumbles into a division title after a performance like that, it would feel more like dumb luck than something earned. To be honest with you, this game was a masterclass of self-sabotage. Broski Bear, I'm about to prove your point wrong. You were trashing the defense, but that lost the offense. I'm about to prove this point wrong. In just a little bit. In just a little bit. I'm about to prove that point wrong. But that's okay. I see, but listen, people want to blame the offense because it goes directly towards the quarterback. Again, wins or losses to me is not a quarterback stat. That's where a lot of people want to go. I'll be honest with you, man. And I'm standing up for this one because I couldn't sit down. I did not sleep good last night either. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. Did not sleep good after last night's game. I did not sleep good. I did not sleep good at all after last night's game. But it's like, let me give my biggest key takeaways from this game real quick. Where's the final score? Pull it up over here. I'm trying to pull it up. Give me 1 second here. If it would pull up the freaking final score somewhere. Let me just go to NFL. Let me go to Fox or something. Maybe it'll give me a final score somewhere. I know what the final score is, but I'm trying to find a graphic real quick over on. Maybe not. I just need NFL. Let me do that. Yeah, let's go here. All right. What's up, Marcos? I'm just trying to find a chat. Hold on 1 second, man. I'm sorry. This is like cannot Fuck it. There it is. That'll work. All right. I just wanted to use this for the image tonight. All right. So, yeah. The biggest takeaways I took from this game, and I'll be honest with you, again, the penalties killed us. It was just over and over again. The flags just kept coming. I mean, these were just self-inflicted wounds, like on both sides of the ball. Like this team repeatedly committed penalties in the worst possible situations, especially on defense. Okay. That's why I don't blame the offense because the penalties came from the fucking defense. People keep saying that it was the damn offense. Like Broski Bear here says, you were trashing the defense, but the loss is on the offense, 17 points against the Saints. The Panthers only scored 24 total points against Saints this season. Oh, well, guess what, Broski Bear? You could have tied the game. You know, the only thing I blame the offense is being aggressive when it didn't need to be aggressive. See, the problem with Dave Canales is, which we're going to have a talk about tonight, is that his situational football mindset is horrific. Okay? The situational football mindset of Dave Canales is horrific. He does not know when to be aggressive at the right times. He does not know when to be conservative at the right times. Okay? What I mean by that is, and I get what you're saying, Broski Bear, and I'm going to dive more because I know I was really harsh on the defense. I'm going to get to the offense. There's plenty of blame to go around in this game. Okay? But it's not 100% on the offense. You can't blame it all on the offense when the penalties were coming from the defense. Again, we committed the worst penalties at the worst possible situation on defense. Again, one of my biggest keys to victory to win this game was to not let explosive plays happen on these third and long situations. Because if you go back, Broski Bear, and go watch the Week 10 game, we allowed most of the explosive plays on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 12 in between those long down and distance situations that should have ended drives. And we did the same thing in these games. Instead, they got extended, man. And I'm not going to just bash the defense, man. I hear what you're saying. Okay. Possessions that should have been overturned into points. Now, some calls were questionable. That happens in the NFL, right? When you consistently put yourself in bad spots, man, you can't just blame the refs, right? The penalties directly contributed to setting the Saints up in game-winning field goal situation. Lathan Ransom, like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Okay, what the fuck are you doing? All right. The next thing, 2 separate offside penalties on field goal attempts. Shaw Smith-Wade twice. Offsides. And then repeated defensive breakdowns late in drives. That is sloppy, undisciplined football. It's not bad luck. That's what it is. Right? And I'll be honest with you. No offense to Lathan Ransom. And I think he's a hell of a rookie. And I think he can be a very talented rookie. I think he's got the talent. The talent's there. All right. But there's no dancing around this, ladies and gentlemen. Lathan Ransom made a bonehead decision that directly handed the Saints the win on a draw play with the clock running. And the Saints desperate. And here's the most frustrating part, chat. I'm going to show you something I bookmarked today. Actually, you know what? We'll go to Carolina Blitz real quick. And shout out to Fashion Eye. I'm pretty sure she's the one who she posted it. Was it yesterday? Trying to find it. Oh no, it wasn't yesterday. It's right. This is the fucked up part. If you read this in this post, shout out to Vashti, shout out to Carolina Blitz for this post. In his post game pressure, Tyler Shook said he sold being hurt after the ransoms hit because he knew they were out of timeouts. This is what his quote coming from the horse's mouth. I may have sold a little bit because I know we didn't have any timeouts. So, I mean, it definitely hurt, but I was good. We had to be in that scenario. We were going to clock it. See, this is where, this is where this football slide rule bullshit has to stop. It has to stop. Okay? This rule with the sliding bullshit that's where it's absolute bullshit. This is where that quarterback sliding rule needs to go. Because these guys are selling, man. And it's funny because people are posting up as Panthers fans all over Twitter right now, showing the video that Bryce Young slid and got hit, but nobody called it. And that should have been called as well. Like, this is where that's where it gets absolutely these NFL rules and referees they've got to fix this. It's been happening all year. All right. It's been happening all year with the NFL rules and all that stuff. Okay. We just you need to call it what it is. This team it's not just the Panthers. Okay. We're one of the least penalized teams in the league, funny enough. But again, that penalty stopped the clock, number one. It gave New Orleans the free yardage. And then it turned a desperation, which would have been a 60-plus yard field goal attempt, into a makeable game winner. So without that penalty, the Saints are likely scrambling, praying. Instead, they're calmly walking out with that win. That's unacceptable. Again, it's fully unacceptable. And here's another thing. Ransom should not see meaningful snaps anytime soon, like I said last night. I still believe that. If we're going to hold guys accountable and we're going to hold guys responsible, and we're really going to have that standard that Dave Canales said, make an example out of him. Because that kind of mistake has to have consequences. I hate to say it. I hate to say it. So, and again, let's go to something else. All right, so let's go to some stats. Let's go look at some stats real quick because I want to go to some stats. Broski Bear, I see you in the chat, man. You're just blaming the offense of Bryce Young. That's all you want to do. Listen, man, there's plenty of fucking blame to go around, bro. There's plenty of blame to go around, not just Bryce Young. All right. So let's look at the rushing guard stats here real quick. Bryce Young. All right. Led the sad part is Bryce Young led the team in rushing. Again, when you look at these stats, man, you look at these stats right here. This is where it gets sad. If we're being completely honest. The run game was a massive letdown in this game. Okay. All right. I mean, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? All right. Like, it was just a massive letdown overall. A massive letdown. So, again, it's unacceptable, man. It's unacceptable. All right. All right. Like, here's the thing. Here's the thing, chat. When we look at the rushing yards, and I'm looking at it right now, I predicted that this would be the game that Carolina would impose its will on the ground. Instead, it was mostly a dud. Like, Chuba Hubbard made a few plays as a receiver, but as a rushing attack, nothing special. Like, Rico Daddle didn't provide the spark Carolina needed either, right? Like, whether it was the Saints game plan, poor execution, or lack of creativity in the run game, like, we never really got off the ground. So for a team that wants to control games through balance and physicality, that's a problem. That's an absolute problem. I have no idea what that dude's saying over there, man. I have no idea what that dude's saying, to be honest with you. I have no idea who that is and what he's saying, to be honest with you. So, anyways. But that was the most disappointing thing. Gary, hey GG buddy. If anything, it was exciting. The refs were going ballistic all game. Yeah, I mean, definitely were. Definitely were going ballistic all game. That's for sure. Hold on one second, chat. Hold on one second. I'm working on getting someone blocked here real quick. There he is. All right. I got him taken care of. He won't be bothering us again. All right. So, anyways. Sorry, Tom Brady. Bills great in December, 26th and 27th in January, and 0-4 in February. 270. Shout out to Tom Brady. We'll see, man. Here's the thing: the demise of the Buffalo Bills, Tom Brady, have been in the playoffs. Who? You know what I mean? No offense, it hasn't been you guys, and I'm not like throwing like shade at you or anything. All right. Not throwing shade at you or anything like that. I'm just saying, um, you know, your not throwing shade at you, but all I'm saying is if we're all being honest, the all like You're not their downfall has been who? You know what I mean? It's been whatchamacallit. It's been the Chiefs. Sorry, my freaking well, Clay, why are people blaming Bryce Young for our loss yesterday? I don't know, man. I really don't. It is what it is at the end of the day. I'm gonna dive more into the offense as well. What's up, Clay? I'm gonna say it like this: coaching is not where it needs to be. Exactly. Um, the reason the thing is that what I don't understand is when we talk about Bryce Young, his performance yesterday, I felt like he was the only reason that was competitive. Like if we watch the game, if there's one player who deserves credit, it is Bryce Young because time and time again, this offense relied on Bryce to bail them out. He had the big scrambles. He had clutch throws on late downs. He had all script plays that kept drives alive. Go look at the touchdown. Do I need to bring up film? I can bring up film. Do I need to bring up film? Because I can bring up film. There's no doubt about that. I can bring up film. All right. I can bring up all the film you want. Because here's another thing. Even the touchdown to Jalen Coker came after a brutal penalty. And that set us behind the chains and still made it happen. Again, I don't think this was a perfect game for Bryce Young, but it wasn't. But it wasn't like it was another example of what we saw against Green Bay, or it wasn't another example of what we saw against the 49ers. Bryce Young in this game being the engine of whatever success the offense managed to scrape together. And without him making something out of nothing, this game would have got uglier than what it was. So what are we talking about? That's the thing I don't understand. That is the thing I don't understand. That's wholeheartedly the thing I don't understand. Like Broski Bear in the chat, did you even watch the game? Or were you too busy watching your Bears, were you not? I mean, I can show film. Because Bryce Young yesterday, Bryce Young on the move was a weapon. Like the Saints didn't reinvent the wheel defensively. They didn't need to. They stuck with the same basic blueprint that worked at week 10. They stayed disciplined on the edges, collapsed the pocket from the interior, forced Bryce Young to operate the outside of the structure. That plan worked to a degree. You rarely had a clean pocket, and pressure came early and often. And again, I've been one of Bryce's biggest critics lately. But we're not going to sit here and say that he did not keep this team in this game. But we're not going to, again, he didn't win it for us either. Right? Like, here's the thing. The thing is that the New Orleans Saints against us, they stayed disciplined on the edges. They collapsed the pocket from the interior. They forced Bryce Young to operate outside of that structure. That plan worked to a degree because you rarely had a clean pocket and pressure came early and often, right? But instead of panicking or playing scared, Young leaned into one of the most underrated parts of his game, which was his improvisation. There were flashes of brilliance throughout the night. He had a subtle sidestep that turned pressure into a chunk run. He had a ridiculous arm angle throw to Tommy Tremble. He had several scramble plays where Young simply refused to die. As he continues to gain experience, Young is getting quicker at identifying what I've noticed as of late when a play is broken and when it's time to make something out of nothing. That growth matters a lot. Like some of these plays didn't turn into bigger gains because of drops or missed execution around him, but the ability is obvious. Expect this part of his game to keep evolving. I'm just going to give him some flowers here. All right? Right? But again, if we're talking about anything else, if the first half was about survival, the second half was about opportunity. Bryce Young came out of that locker room with urgency. The Panthers needed a statement drive. He delivered one of the best moments of that game. He worked through his progressions decisively. He trusted his reads. He got help from his playmakers. Xavier Legette secured a tough catch in traffic. We saw that. Chuba Hubbard extended a drive with that violent run after the catch. Jalen Coker delivered it when it mattered most. The touchdown throw to Coker was a thing of beauty. Without Young stayed patient in the pocket, waited for separation, ripped a perfectly placed ball into the end zone. That was the high level quarterbacking under pressure. All right. I can bring that up real quick. We can go over here and bring that up. Ain't no problem. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. Film room. Where you at? All right. There we go. All right. Now, let's pull up that pass play. Here we go. Like what? Watch his improvisation here. Like we're talking about, this is the stuff I'm talking about. This is where he's getting better at, chat. Watch the improvisation on this play. Watch him improvise. You're gonna watch Kool-Aid McKinstry check down to him. Goes up. Kool-Aid comes there. Little stutter step. Gets 15 yards. Like that's the stuff that I'm talking about. Okay? That's the stuff I'm talking about. All right. Watch it. Watch it from this angle. This is what we're talking about, improvisation. How he just improvised. This is off script stuff. Look, boom. Sees the pressure coming, does a little get jiggy with it. Boom. I just put Broski Bear in timeout for 24 hours. I think he just needs to have a timeout. It's just like sometimes you just need to put your kids in timeout, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just need to put kids in their place, I hate it. I hate that I had to put Broski Bear in timeout like a child. But you see, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do, man. Just gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes you gotta put a child in timeout. I think this is the one that he underhands it, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if he does it right here. Is this the one he like? Watch this improvisation to Tommy Trimble. I'm pretty sure this is the one he sidearms. Yeah, look at that. Like that keeps plays alive. Watch it from the sideline view. And then I'll pull up the Jalen Coker one. Boom. I mean, now let me get out of this real quick and go down to the touchdown. This is a great play too here. Let me find the touchdown one for you. No, this is the fourth quarter. Oh, 32-yard touchdown right here. Now you're gonna watch you're gonna watch this. It's gonna be interesting what he does here. Okay, you're gonna watch what he does. All right, watch what he does here. And here's the thing about this play that I love the most, and I tweeted about it yesterday. That touchdown pass. It's just here is the thing, man. Why Aaron Coker? He's going to create just enough space off that double move. Okay. All right. All right. And he's going to put this 32-yard on this 32-yard touchdown. I think it's on a vertical route. I'm pretty sure. Okay. All right. I think it's just a vertical route, but he just puts this double move on this vertical. And then, pretty good. Here's the thing. It's a pretty good move. Bryce sets his feet, got time to throw. He places that perfectly. Hell of a 32-yard touchdown there. All right. So, again, Bryce Young made big plays. Bryce Young made big plays too. Bryce Young stayed patient at pocket, waited for the separation, ripped a perfectly placed ball in the end zone. That is high-low quarterbacking under pressure. That is the version of Bryce Young that keeps optimism alive. Again, that's what you see. And he was the one who kept us alive. Again, in this game, his poise was never an issue. If we're being completely honest. The poise was never the issue, if we're being completely honest. All right. I actually like this. Let's see what the pro preview looks like. This is different. This is interesting. Gives us the advantages, disadvantages, stuff like that. Keys in the game, which is really cool. Which is really cool. But again, like if we go to this, let's look at the stats real quick or some insights here. I'd like to see if they give any more insights on stuff. Let's see what the next gen stats is. This is just next gen stats on that. Okay, never mind. Let's see if is there any penalties on this at all? Let's see what the advanced stats are. So you look at Bryce, 15 to 24, 62% completion. What's this COPE mean? Completion percentage over expected. So 2.9%. Dropbacks 32. His EPA pass EPA was plus 10.1. His EPA per dropback was plus 0.32. Airs yards per attempt. Oh, this is what I like right here. Air yards per attempt 8.2. Deep passing percentage 8.3. Time to throw 3.2 seconds. So again, the offensive line's giving him time to throw. The QBP pressure rate 46.9%. Blitz rate was 15.6. His play action percentage was 25. His average target separation was 4. Tight windows percentage 4.2%. So, I mean, it's all positive stats. It's plus everything for him. Okay. But if we go down, but I'm going to show you something that's interesting too about another thing that was interesting about Bryce, though. Again, was that his poise. Again, another thing with Bryce in this game, man, like his poise, like it never left the game. Like like if there's one trait I do think that Bryce Young has that has fully developed is his poise. Like I felt like this was a quarterback who was once, I once labeled this kid a bust. I'm not gonna lie. I labeled him as a bust, right? Benched, dragged through the mud, questionable, questioned questioned him relentlessly. None of that shows up in that body language or decision making. He's calm. He's been controlled. He hasn't spiraled, right? Against the Saints, that composure was critical. The offense became predictable at times. The run game stalled in this game. The Saints tightened coverage very much, but Young never looked rattled in this game, right? He kept this team competitive deep into the fourth quarter. Even when nothing came easy, he managed the game well enough to keep momentum from completely evaporating. Just because he only had 63 yards through the air, 163, we're forgetting that he had 49 yards on the ground. That's the thing that people aren't looking at. So he had a total of over 230 plus yards. Right? Like he couldn't, like Bryce Young couldn't save the Panthers from themselves. That's the harsh reality. That's what people don't want to say. He has built a reputation for late game heroics. With the game tied, 2 minutes left, the ball was in his hands again. This was the biggest game-winning opportunity of his career. This time, the Magic ran out. Again, the Saints defense clamped down. Our receivers struggled to get separated. Like T-Mac, I got to be honest with you. T-Mac, another one. Okay? Young generated most of this offense with his legs, which is not sustainable on 2-minute drives, especially when you're under 2-minute drill. We stalled this and the defense imploded in the most painful way possible with that Lathan Ransom unnecessary late hit. Gave the Saints a free yardage, shot the game-winning field goal. That wasn't on Bryce Young. He fought, he competed, he gave Carolina a chance. But no quarterback, not even the great ones, can consistently overcome undisciplined football, blown assignments, late game stupidity. Again, all I'm saying about Bryce Young is this. In this game, okay, against the Saints, again, in this game against the Saints, he didn't play a perfect game, but he played well enough to win. This loss stings because it wasn't about talent. It was about mistakes, right? Like if let's go back to this. If we're going to be honest. Here's our defense. We had one forced fumble, one tackle for a loss. DJ Wanham, tackle for a loss. Tej Gibson, one tackle for a loss. A sack. Hold on. Let me go to stats. Let me see if I can get better stats on the defensive side. That's passing stats, rushing stats. You're going to give me any defensive stats? I don't want passing stats. All right, we'll go down here. We'll go to defense on that then. But again, the pass rush, I mean, Roseboom, tackle, assist, sacks. Okay, right here. Roseboom had a sack. Bobby Brown the third had a half a sack. DJ Wanham had apparently 2 sacks. Gibson had 1 sack. And then Nick Scorton had a half a sack. So we basically had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 sacks on the game. So our pass rush actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but it's still not good enough. Like, again, we recorded a couple sacks, but that doesn't mean the pass rush was very effective because, again, I'm going to prove something else to you guys because it's time to have a conversation about Ejiro Evero. Let me show you this real quick. I posted it up on the post. Here's this. Here's the chat. Here's this. What's that say? Over Ejiro Evero is now almost 3 full years as Panthers DC. The Panthers rank 31st in EPA play, 30th in success rate, 28th in EPA dropback, 26th in dropback success rate, 32nd in EPA rush, 32nd in rush defense success rate, 32nd, and 31st in pressure rate. Like, Evero is blowing this his big here's the thing. He's blowing his big audition. And this is what I quoted this tweet right here. And this is what I said. This is unacceptable. There's no way around it. 3 years is plenty of sample size when you're bottom 5 or dead last at EPA. Success rate, rush defense, and pass rush rate. That's bad luck. That's systematic failure. You can't blame roster holes. You can blame roster holes all you want. The schemes are supposed to elevate talent, not consistently ranked 30th across the board. At some point, it is not. He hasn't had enough. It's the shit that this isn't working. So Evero's had excuses. Now he's not getting results. They're awful. So how about we start putting blame on him? Huh? How about we start putting blame on our defensive coordinator who is blowing his opportunity for any head coaching job? Because I can tell you right now, with these types of rankings, there ain't no way you're getting a head coaching job, much less a defensive coordinator job here or anywhere else. Again, I understand that our offense made mistakes in this game, chat. Yes, the penalties play a role, but most of the damning issue that keeps showing up over and over was this defense completely inability to get off the field late. That is a problem. That is a problem, ladies and gentlemen, because another thing, to be clear, all right, the problem becomes Ejiro Evero's defense. Ejiro Evero deserves credit for helping pull this unit out of the depths of hell that was last year. I will give him that. The Panthers are better defensively than they were last year. There's no question about that. But improvement doesn't mean good enough. When the season is hanging in the balance, Ejiro Evero's scheme keeps getting exposed. This, at this point, to me, feels like a scheme that is built on hope. There is no answers. His defensive philosophy is simple, and maybe it's too simple. It's a bend but don't break system around soft zone coverage, minimal man looks, and almost desperate reliance on forcing turnovers, especially in the red zone. When it works, it looks smart. When it doesn't, it looks helpless. The Packers and Rams game are the best example of Evero's defense working as designed. Carolina forced timely turnovers. Carolina stole possessions and turned those games on their head against elite teams. We survived by taking the ball away. The Rams game against the Saints, we didn't do it. And again, maybe that's one of my other takeaways from this game. Like, are we still playing down to our competition? Like, is that still a problem? Like, is that what we're doing? Because it seems like this team can't stop doing this. Like, this Panthers team has shown that they can beat quality opponents. They beat the Rams. They've beaten the Packers. Yet they continue to play sloppy, unfocused football against the teams they should handle. And a team coming off a bye should not look this disjointed. A team fighting for a division title, not losing twice to a Saints team with 3 wins, yet here we are. See, the problem is with the Giro Evero, there is no adjustments. It's the same damn results you get time and time again. This is where the frustration really kicks in for me. Because against the New Orleans Saints, the Panthers played off coverage consistently, even in obvious passing situations. 3rd and short, off coverage. 3rd and long, still off coverage. It didn't matter. The Saints converted 6 of 11 on 3rd downs. Many of those throws came on, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? One of my keys to victory, stopping the explosive plays on 3rd and long. And guess what? That's what they did. The exact situations where this defense is supposed to thrive. Because we continue to play this soft zone coverage. Because of Giro Evero. It's unacceptable. The linebacker play has been rough. I get that. Tre'von Wallace, Christian Roseman could struggle to control the middle of the field between the hashes. Okay? That's a personal problem. But it's also a coaching problem. See, Giro Evero didn't adjust. He didn't change looks. That's the issue. He didn't disguise coverage. He didn't bring pressure to compensate. He just kept calling the same soft ass zone baby shit and hoping something would magically happen, and it did. And then in the final 7 minutes, our defense was a total disaster. If you want a snapshot of everything that went wrong with Evero's approach, rewind the final stretch of that game. With under 7 minutes to go, you're talking 17-10 lead. The Panthers needed one stop, just one. Instead, Tyler Shook and the Saints walked down the field like they were running a damn practice script. This soft-ass zone coverage continues to give easy completions, and there's no resistance. Kellen Moore had Evero completely figured out, and there was zero counterpunch. By the time Sam Martin punted the ball to New Orleans late, even with under a minute left, the Saints pinned deep. Every Panthers fan watching in that building possibly knew what was coming. And sure enough, that defense practically held Shook's hand and guided him into the field goal range. They then came the cherry on top. The Lathan Ransom's dumbass late hit gave that 15 yards. You see the outcome. That play was stupid, but the defense situation allowed it to matter. That's on the scheme. See, even if that happens and they're on their own side of the field, okay, 15 yards, but then they still have 4 plays that they got to go down the field. But again, that play alone was stupid. And with the situation that the defense was in that allowed it to matter, that's on Giro Evero and the scheme that he puts out on the field. And here's the thing. This isn't new. That's the problem. We talked about this last year. This collapse was an anomaly. It was a pattern. Under Giro Evero, we are consistently failing to close game defensively. We struggle on 3rd and long. We rely on turnovers instead of pressure, and we refuse to adapt when we refuse to adapt when offenses find the soft spots. That's not a defense that helps its players, bro. That's a defense that puts them in impossible situations and hopes talent saves the day. Sometimes it does. Often it doesn't. If I'm Dave Canales, all right, because Giro Evero's contract is set to expire at the end of this season, you can't retain him. Here's the thing. I don't think Giro Evero is the worst coach or defense coordinator in the NFL. Okay, his time in Denver proved that. What he's done this year to get us out of the hole has proved that a little bit. But also, I have to say this. Scheme fit matters, man. Styles win fights. You've heard that quote before. Scheme matters. And this scheme simply does not align with the personnel Carolina has or the situations they keep finding themselves in. That which brings me to Dave Canales. The head coach has a massive decision looming. Does he stick with the coordinator whose system keeps failing in high leverage moments? Or does he finally acknowledge that there is a problem that needs to be improved? The ceiling of this defense is being capped by a stubborn strategy. Again, if nothing changes, this team is going to keep losing the same games in the same painful way. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, E-Money. You know what's so funny that you say that? Because I remember Robert Griffin III on one play goes, why was Derek Brown in coverage? Why did Derek Brown drop back into coverage? That's the funny part. That's the even funny part. Your defensive tackle, your top defensive tackle, is dropping into coverage. How many times have we seen our linebackers be one-on-one with Drake London when Drake London's in the slot? How many times have we seen that? Huh? How many times have we seen our edge rushers drop back into coverage? Plenty times. Plenty enough times to count that it don't fucking work. That's for damn sure. There was no, again, easy completions, soft spots in coverage, no answers. That's 3 things. This isn't new. It's happened multiple times this season. It's a serious concern. It's a serious concern, chat. I'm running out of patience with a Giro Evero. I would tell you that right now. You know what I mean? Like, and I just tweeted this out today too. I'll just tweet with you. I tweeted this out today too. All right. I'll share this with you. It's gonna be a reality check for you guys. I'm sorry. And maybe it will be, maybe it won't be for some. I'm gonna sit down now. I had my rant. Steve Wilkes is gone, ladies and gentlemen. He will not be back. That ended 3 years ago. That ended 3 years ago. Unfortunately, Trizzy. Regime the dude. Yo, that reminded me of the Steelers Thursday night football game years ago when Julius Peppers dropped back in the coverage. Shake my head. Yeah, he was. Mr. King, I hear you, man. I've been saying that I don't trust Bulls there. Never have, never will. But again, this is a reality check. We aren't a playoff team. We show flashes. We show potential. We have the pieces, in my opinion. And I tweeted this out today. And we might get there. Like, I mean, again, the playoffs are still alive. Yeah, even though we lost this game, it's crazy. There's only two ways to get back in the playoffs. You either sweep the Bucks or you split with the Bucks and you beat the Seahawks, and then you hope Miami beats the Bucks. Until they play, and that's the bottom line on that tweet right there is the most key takeaway from that tweet, if you take anything away. Until they play like it consistently, the answer is no. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this right now. There's three things that are going to have to there are three things that are going to have to change immediately if they want to survive and make it to the playoffs. Number one, the penalties against the Saints were inexcusable, right? The pre-snap mistakes, the personal fouls, the boneheaded plays on third down, and at the end of the game. You cannot win meaningful football games when you're spotting teams free yardage and extending drives. Instead, right? Point blank period. So that's on coaching, that's on accountability, that's on situational awareness, and it's been a recurring problem all season. So if this team keeps beating itself, even though I know Mr. King doesn't like Todd Bowles, we might save Todd Bowles' job for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Tampa Bay won't have to do much to beat us. We'll just continue to beat ourselves. All right. Defensive strategy again. I don't think this. Here's the thing. The defensive strategy for this team needs to be adjusted. Do I think it's going to be adjusted? Hell no. Because again, we have a stubborn idiot as a defensive coordinator. Do I think it will be adjusted? No, I don't. I don't think he'll adjust at all. That's the crazy part, chat. I don't think that Ejiro Evero will make any adjustments to this defense. Guys, we got 30 people watching on the YouTube channel. We only got 20 likes. We got people slacking on that like button. Let's get them likes up, man. I greatly appreciate it. All right. But again, here's the thing. Here's the thing, chat. This is where things get interesting. All right. This is where the things get interesting because if he does make adjustments, we can be a nightmare on defense. But again, he won't. Again, Evero soft zone coverage. Until he makes adjustments, this bend but don't break approach has its moments. But when it fails spectacularly, man. The Saints walk the ball down the field late because Carolina refused to get aggressive when it mattered. Third and long should be an advantage, and instead it's our worst nightmare. How is that possible? So whether that means more man coverage, more pressure looks, or simply changing tendencies, something has to give. You keep hoping quarterbacks make mistakes when you're giving them clean reads and free completions. EG 4200 says, hear me out, y'all. We kidnap Bryce Young, hypnotize him, make him play like make him think he's playing against Atlanta. Yeah, that would be awesome. If that could be the case. But unfortunately, I don't think it can be. Hard to see us beating Seattle without a pass rush. Man, y'all should have seen me talk about that TikTok I made about our pass rush, man. Oh my God. I got freaking trampled in the comments saying, well, we're getting pressure. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. Like, I had an argument with this guy on TikTok that sat there and said, all right, that's the crazy part. I had when I said, if y'all seen that TikTok, this one, okay? The Panthers can't rush the passer. You go in the comments, man. All right. I sat there. This one person says says that pressures matter. Says, the one guy says, do you even watch the game? Pressures have led to interceptions. Again, here's the thing that I have to say to that. Pressures help, sure. But if we're going to pretend that we're like pretending that 31st in sacks isn't a problem, man, that it's pure comedy to me. And the DBs were bailing our defenses out when we did that. And then we've got people out here saying, that I'm reaching and all this stuff about the pressures. But here's the thing. This guy comes in here and says, you're reaching because your take's not good. Never said sacks don't matter. Pressures just matter more in this context. Evero, one of the best defensive minds in the game, and our defense is the only reason we beat the Rams. Here's the thing. I came back and said, and here's my thing on that, because a lot of people are saying that. Here's the thing on that. Nobody said that pressures don't matter. Of course they do. But the point is, without pressures consistently, okay, and finishes, right, is a ceiling, not a solution, okay? Pressure without consistent finishes is a ceiling, not a solution. That's the issue. Yes, this defense beat the Rams. I believe that. But the secondary capitalized when pressure sped Stafford up. That doesn't mean that pass rush is suddenly just solved, or it's going to sustain against elite quarterbacks week after week. Like, go look. I mean, well, look what we just did against the Saints. Evero being a great defensive mind doesn't magically erase roster limitations. He's masking them. That's the whole point. But again, we're not getting enough pressure and we're not getting home. That's the biggest issue. That is the biggest issue. Again, until this pass rush improves, we're not going to see until this bend but don't break and this adjustments are made, we're going to continue to see the same thing we've seen for 3 years straight, bro. I mean, again, this soft ass baby zone bullshit coverage is what we've seen for 3 years straight, man. And we posted it up on, I mean, we've got it on Twitter, X. I mean, these are legit stats coming from a legit person on X. Again, Let's share it again. Evro, for almost now 3 full years as your DC, the Panthers ranked 31st in EPA per play, 30th in success rate, 28th in EPA per dropback, 26th in dropback success rate, 32nd in EPA per rush, 32nd in rush defense success rate, and then through the 3 years, we have been 32nd, and 31st in pressure rate. That does not seem to me like a great defensive coordinator for the past 3 years. The numbers don't lie. What we see on the field don't lie. The stats don't lie. So where am I wrong? It's so crazy to me to think that these people just continue to want to have these conversations. See, the problem is Carolina Panthers fans, some of you Carolina Panthers fans out there don't want to have these tough conversations. Some of you Panthers fans don't want the truth. Some of you Panthers fans just love going and listening to other bullshit podcasts that just bullshit around all day and talk about nothing, or they talk in circles. See, they don't bring you anything that's worth facts. There's some that are out there that are great. That's the issue. Another thing is with these Panthers fans, another thing is too, they can't take criticism. You guys can't take criticism when someone's right. That's the problem I have too. Y'all can't take criticism. You automatically think that I'm a hater just because I criticize my own team. Criticizing your own team is called being realistic. It's called a reality. Right? Stop living in fantasy world. See, it's just like that Eric guy, I think it was Derek or Eric yesterday, kept saying, well, we led the whole game. Who gives a fuck? Did we win? Did we win? No, I don't think we did. Like, that's the shit that I'm talking about. Like this, that's like do you guys see, this is the problem with this generation now. We all accept participation trophies. We all accept participation trophies. I didn't accept participation trophies, not in sports that I played. Every sport I played in, I played to win. I didn't play just to for the fun of it and say, oh, I get a trophy at the end of the year. My mom's going to get me some zebra cakes and some Capri Suns. That's the problem with this generation, man. We're soft as baby shit because we're letting these players and everybody coach is so soft. That's the problem with this generation, man. Everybody's all about their zebra cakes and Capri Suns and their participation trophies. Fuck that. I'm here to win. Same reason why I continue this YouTube channel. I'm here to win. And I'm going to keep going. You can be listen, all I'm saying at the end of the day is you can be a diehard Panthers fan. And you can still criticize your team. You can be a Bryce Young lover. That's fine. Be a Bryce Young lover. I'm cool with that. But if Bryce Young ends up not being the guy, I don't want to hear excuses. Okay, I don't want to hear, oh, well, we didn't give him enough chance. Blah, 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 blah. He's just not the guy. If Dave Canales ends up, if Dave Canales doesn't end up working out, he doesn't end up working out. That's the reality of it. And if I criticize him, I'm going to criticize him. But we can't deny facts. We cannot deny game film. You cannot deny this type of stuff, man. Like it's just mind blowing to me. I'm sorry. I'm just ranting at this point, chat. I'm just ranting at you guys for no reason. I'm just pouring my feelings out, I guess, because I'm so frustrated with this Saints loss. But also I just remember a lot of the comments yesterday that was just really just was like, man, this is where our generation's going now that we're just accepting mediocrity. But it's like I didn't go to college to just get a degree. I went to college because I thought that it was going to better my life, right? But I mean, it's like, don't we want better for ourselves in this world? I'm just saying. We got to stop accepting mediocrity. All right, my last thing to turn this season around. Bryce Young can't only be the one saving this offense. All right, Bryce Young wasn't the problem on Sunday. If anything, he was the reason we stayed alive. All right, the mobility, the composure, the clutch throws kept the Panthers from getting blown out, but he's being asked to cover too much shit. The run game has to be more consistent. The receivers, okay, I didn't even get to talk about Tre'von McMillan yesterday, chat. These receivers have to be more consistent, especially Tre'von McMillan. What happened to him lately? Like, he's becoming a concern to me with these past couple games, right? Like, he's been essentially a non-factor, right? One long catch on a scramble drill, a tough drop that would have been a touchdown. I know the ball was placed a little bit behind him, but the ball's in his hands. It was a great defensive play on that. I mean, little to nothing else. I mean, for this an offense that desperately needs a reliable playmaker outside, right? And McMillan has been disappearing in big moments. That's a problem. That needs to be addressed. We need these guys to show up in big time moments. I thought that Coker made a big time catch. Excel made a big time catch. Tre'von McMillan made like two good catches. But Canales has to also stop getting predictable when the game tighten up. You know, if Young is the only thing working this season isn't going to survive what's coming. All I'm going to say is that this is my final thing I'm going to say, chat. The Panthers are still alive, okay? All right. We're still alive. All right. The division is still there. The playoffs are still possible, but the margin of error is gone. Like, this team has shown it can beat anyone. Green Bay, the Rams. Also, it is proven to show that they can lose to anyone, including Saints team with nothing on the line. That's who they are right now. If Carolina wants to turn this season, if we want to turn this something into real, the sloppiness has to stop. Our coaches have to sharpen up, and the urgency has to finally match the stakes. Please, because the next 3 weeks will decide whether this season is going to be remembered as a breakthrough or just another painful reminder of how close, but also maybe how far we still are. Like, I'm just being honest, man. Like, we have to stop kidding ourselves here. We have to stop kidding ourselves. But Ajiro Evero, we're back to that conversation again, man. We're back to that conversation again, and it fucking sucks. It sucks. And it's not, again, this Saints loss, it's not about losing to the Saints, man. Again, I said it yesterday. It's not because of, like I said, it's not about losing to the Saints. It's about how we lost to the Saints. We had, and that's the thing, we had every opportunity to take control of this season when the Falcons just did us a favor. And then we drop a big old goose egg against the Saints and we beat ourselves because of penalties, mental mistakes, and lack of discipline because of the coaching. And we get it swept by the Saints, who was a 3-win team up at this point. And that is embarrassing. And we did it with everything, and we're doing it, and we did it with a lot on the line. And we cannot be taken seriously as a playoff team, gang, because these teams or these games like this, even though now it doesn't matter because we're going to be playing Tampa Bay and the Seahawks. So maybe that's a good thing because we keep playing down to our competition anyways against the Saints. But we play good against good teams. Maybe even though I'm saying that this has to stop happening, but performances like this cannot belong in December, much less January and heading on into February. You can't have that. Can't have that. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Again, chat, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, do me a favor, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Great show tonight. I appreciate everybody in the chat showing love. Everyone being in here. I appreciate you guys. Definitely going to be getting some shorts out to you guys tonight. I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Appreciate all the love and support. I will see you guys on the NFC South Roundtable tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST, brought to you by Roundtable Sports. Make sure you go over to Roundtable Sports. Make sure you drop a follow or make sure you go subscribe. Then go over to the NFC South Roundtable that is part of the Roundtable Sports. Make sure you go over there. Make sure you subscribe and click that post notifications bell so you know when we're live. But again, we'll be there live 8 p.m. Show up, man. Show up. Who cares? We still got, again, we're still alive. That's one thing that's positive. But again, the job's not done yet. Even if we beat the Bucs on this coming Sunday, job ain't done yet, ladies and gentlemen. So again, I appreciate everyone. And again, y'all know what to do as always. Keep pounding. I'm out. Peace.